I, 19F, am in love with my sisters, 18F, best friend, 18F. The feelings are reciprocated, but my sister would be crushed if we pursued a relationship. How do I cause the least damage moving forward? I've gotten super close to my younger sister's best friend over the past year, as I would drive the two of them whenever they needed a ride somewhere. This then progressed to hanging out as a trio regularly because we had so much fun together. I think the world of my sister and her friend. They're both hilarious and gorgeous. About 8 months ago my sister's friends started flirting with me as a joke, and I would flirt back. I didn't think much of it at first because she's a naturally funny and flirty person and I wasn't sure if she was into girls. On top of that, her main bit was making suggestive comments so obscene that nobody would believe she meant them. Turns out she did. It was a double bluff. As the flirting continued, I started falling in love with her like it was the most natural thing in the world. She's so magnetic and confident and witty and kind. Talking to her quickly became my favorite pastime. We ended up texting pretty often but didn't see each other alone much because it seemed to irk my sister that we were becoming friends. But the times we did see each other would have this underlying nervous tension because of how much we liked each other, which went unsaid for a long time. Eventually she really became my person. We share so many values. She's honestly such an extraordinary person with so much passion and humor, and she's made such a huge impact on my life. She's everything to me. We recently admitted our feelings for each other, and decided to talk to my sister about it. I'm very close with my sister. We have 2 other siblings, but I probably spend the most time with her. I adore her and we agree on most things, but she struggles with the comparisons that she feels our parents make between us. I'm the overachieving eldest child, to give context. My sister has already expressed discomfort about my friendship with her best friend because she's quite possessive of her, so I listened and apologized that she felt that way but continued to be friends with her because I felt that it was wrong of her to come between us. Because she was already uncomfortable with our friendship due to complex sister dynamic issues, I knew she would react badly to the potential of a relationship. I should add that she's also an insecure person and relies quite heavily on her best friend for emotional support. I told my sister that I'm in love with her best friend and she was initially distraught. But over the course of a few days she talked to her best friend about it and seemed to understand more. She definitely doesn't want us to be together but would never actively stop us because she knows it's out of her control. I feel terrible for somewhat taking her friend from her, but want so badly for things to work and am prepared to cater for her needs by giving her and her friend time and space away from me so that we can establish separate worlds. My parents strongly believe that my sister's feelings and relationship with me are far more important than my relationship with her friend, and that I should shut down everything with a friend. They think that short-term pain for me and the friend is worth sparing my sister the inevitable discomfort and resentment and pain that our relationship would cause her. I think that my parents are being unfair in assuming we couldn't make it work and that my sister wouldn't come around. Also, if I were to cut off my sister's friend, she says she would end up resenting my sister for being the reason we can't be together, thus destroying their friendship, which is the very thing we're trying to preserve. In addition, cutting my sister's friend off would be near impossible as she spends so much time at my house and we go to uni together. This is all on top of the fact that I desperately don't want things to end with her before they've even started. I want to be with my sister's friend, but I also want my sister to be happy and to cause the least pain possible to the people I love. Please help. How do I, 27M, deal with my GF's, 24F, anger issues? My GF, 24F, and I, 27 meters, got into an altercation last night and I am not quite sure how to navigate as head and heart are facing 2 different directions. My GF and I have known each other since high school as I worked with her older brother and we lived in the same neighborhood. In early 2020 we started dating and things took off rather quickly. By summer of 2020 I was relocating to Europe for work and she was moving to another state. We managed to survive the 4 months apart and when I returned to the States we both landed jobs in the same city. We moved in together and have been living together since then. Although the relationship is far from perfect, we have never had or escalated to the point of physical contact. She tends to get very angry and loud during conversations or arguments by slamming doors, breaking glass, throwing things and yelling. I still have a door in my house that has a massive cracks and splintered from her slamming it so hard. She's only 110 pounds and 5 feet tall. Where the h.ll does this strength come from? There's countless holes in the walls as well. Since I witnessed my father physically abuse my mom, I have a very low tolerance of spousal violence. Last night I got home from work and was attempting to get in the shower when GF gets home from the spa raging hungry. She asked me to cook, which I agreed to after I finished my shower. I smell terrible when I get home from work. This lit the fuse by not immediately cooking her food. This was at 6:40 p.m. Fast forward to 8 p.m. we are at the table eating the spaghetti I cooked and quietly said, "This conversation is not being productive. Can we table this until we calm down?" She gets up from the table and slams her bowl in the sink, breaking it and yelling something. I panicked and jumped up from the table, and as I turned around I ran straight into her. Her face went straight into my chest and I grabbed her shoulders thinking I knocked her over. This was apparently the wrong thing to do as she yelled, "Do not ever grab me." She then proceeded to lift a fist and attempt to punch me. I simply just grabbed her wrist lightly and looked at her. I'm 6 feet 220 pounds, preventing her from actually making contact, but the intent was there. A million different things flashed through my mind as I backed up and let her go, thinking my life was about to be over. I proceeded to walk to the bedroom to remove myself from the situation, but she then started shattering glass jars on the floor. And this was my cue to leave. I packed my important belongings and was trying to leave, but she was physically blocking my exit. Luckily my pup distracted her long enough that I could slip out, followed by blocking and removing her from every digital means possible. I found the closest hotel and booked a night. Imagine my surprise when I get a call from the front desk stating there is a woman requesting access to my room. I obliged and she came up to the door, in which I informed her she needed to leave, in which she started making a scene, so I let her in. She started apologizing and asking me to come home, but I simply stated that I would not be and that she ended up leaving shortly after. My question is, has anyone successfully handled a situation like this and ultimately had a positive outcome? I do love her when she isn't enraged, and we've come this far that I don't particularly want to throw it all away. But I'm absolutely terrified of being falsely accused of something and having my life washed away that I've worked so hard to build. P.S. She has been attending therapy prior to this, as she was dealt a sh.d hand early in life and doesn't have the best family life. I tried my best to de-escalate the situation, but it didn't help here. What else to do? Dr. girlfriend has anger issues, claimed I was aggressive and attempted to hit me. I left my house, things, and dog behind. What now? My parents aren't divorced, but maybe they should be? Dad, 51M, Mom, 52F, me, 23M. I apologize in advance if my thoughts are scrambled. Thinking about this can be upsetting. My mother, 52F, and my father, 51M, have the perfect relationship on paper. They're high school sweethearts, kissed for the first time on the homecoming dance floor, got married after college, had 2 children, and have been married for 30 years this summer. I, 23M, live with my parents and will be moving out this summer. There is a tension in my house between the two of them. When I was a kid, my dad would travel during the week and would only be home for the weekends. That was the case for over a decade. When COVID hit, he had to work from home for the foreseeable future. I could tell he really struggled with this transition. He gained a lot of weight, maybe 80 pounds? He used to be extremely active/athletic, and his attitude changed completely. The way that my father interacted with my mother changed entirely. He used to be gentle and understanding with her. He used to be unbelievably patient. He used to come home with flowers for her with absolutely no reason, just because he adored her. He hasn't done that in years. It feels like he spent all of that patience during my childhood and that he simply has none left to offer. If my mother calls his name from another room in the house, my dad will treat her call like it's a burden. If my dad is resting and my mother asks him for help or for advice, he will either be passive-aggressive to her, or he'll dismiss her entirely. My parents do not spend that much time together. They spend their evenings in opposite rooms of the house. My dad sits on the couch watching YouTube on his phone and his noise-canceling headphones while my mom is upstairs reading or watching TV. If it's the weekend, my father will go play golf or go to a poker tournament while my mother goes to a local musical/play or a party/parade. They don't cook or eat together. Granted, neither of my parents are good cooks, but still I figured they could eat together. They'll get separate meals and eat on their own time. They don't share any political, philosophical, or religious views. My dad is an atheist, as am I. My dad was raised in a church essentially and told me personally that he never believed any of it was true. He told me that he lied about believing in Christianity and that he wanted to keep the peace. My mother, on the other hand, wasn't raised in a church and is a firm believer in Christianity. She told me personally that she would only marry a Christian man because I want to spend the rest of eternity with my partner in heaven, and that was extremely important to her. I don't know if my father has ever fully told the truth about that to my mother. In regards to politics, my mom is a liberal. My dad is a conservative. You can't make this stuff up. They genuinely don't share the same perspective on most political topics. They voted opposite on nearly every election, excluding the ones with Trump in them. He hates Trump. My father's change in behavior stretches outside of my parents' marriage, too. When I was a kid, we used to watch a ton of baseball together. We live in a city where baseball is basically the meaning of life. It is in my BLD, and my father raised me this way. I'm talking about every single day, until he had to start traveling for work. When we weren't watching baseball, we would watch football together. Since COVID, I can count the amount of times that we've watched a baseball game together. He doesn't ask me how our favorite team is doing anymore. He doesn't ask me if we want to go to games together anymore. He doesn't care to check scores or watch the games like he used to. I'm talking about a man who watched his favorite team religiously for 40+ years, all of a sudden doesn't give a sh.t at all. To be completely honest, I miss those days so much. I would k.ll for him to care like he used to. Forgive the long story, but I really need your help, Reddit. Should I talk to my parents about how I feel? Do I just let them live their life and not worry about it? I want both of my parents to be happy and it feels like they're surviving right now. I would appreciate any advice, thanks for your time. I, 25F, told my 28M partner I was pregnant and he chose a Super Bowl party over me. I have been dating my partner for 2.5 years. We have a strong, healthy relationship and talk about our future together often. My period was a couple days late and I was getting a bit concerned, so asked him to pick up a pregnancy test for me the morning of the party. I was feeling too exhausted to attend the party, which I now know is because I am pregnant, so I stayed home and slept, then decided to take the test. I texted him the results immediately after, fully expecting him to call me right away, get an Uber back here, and comfort me, like the supportive boyfriend he usually is. I didn't get any of that. He responded to my text osh.t. Do you want me to call you? I can in like 5 minutes. I called my other friends because I was terrified and needed support and told him no sh.t. I wanted you to call me. Once he called me, he was super dismissive on the phone and gave me so much attitude, saying things like I guess I'm sorry I didn't call you earlier? Well, I'm here now, so what do you need? I responded I just need some support or comfort, but this is really sounding like a chore for you to talk to me, Aaron. He said don't give me that. I'm here now, so like what's up, what do you need? I had to ask him for comfort and even then he's like well yeah, I guess I'm sorry I didn't call earlier, I'm Dr.K. Yeah, it's gonna be okay or gonna be fine, just very dismissive. I texted him we would need to talk when he returned from the party, assuming he would have stopped drinking or something so we could talk about this. He returned 6 hours later, Dr.K, giving me attitude when I called him out and was crying about how upset I was. It was clear we couldn't have that conversation then, so I asked him to leave, but then realized he was too Dr.K to drive. He responded with okay, I'll just go making love myself then, I guess. I'll just go sleep in the car, blah blah blah. He was trying to victimize himself in that moment. He walked out to his car and I had to follow him to beg him not to drive, saying I didn't feel good and could he please just listen to me. Obviously I didn't want him to drink and drive, so I just asked if we could not talk to each other. We watched an episode to not speak to each other and then after he's like well clearly I'm not wanted here so I'm gonna go. I knew he would be less of an a-h-lay in his sober mind the next morning. He came over today to try to talk about things and admitted how selfish he was being and apologized profusely. I told him the truth, I don't feel comforted at all by his presence and it just angers and saddens me at this point, so I don't want to be around him. To me, this is breakup worthy and really showed his priorities. This situation involves both of us and he really left me scared and alone, to deal with this on my own. Sadly, this is not the first time that he has chosen partying over me. Like I said, our relationship is pretty solid and we communicate and move forward from our issues healthily. One recurring issue in our relationship has been his partying, though. After I communicated my boundaries, he has decreased his partying habits significantly and doesn't use c.ca.e nearly as much, and only after testing it, which is good. The timing s.cksbc, it's his b-day today and Valentine's Day tomorrow, but these are the consequences of his actions. We've talked about the possibility of getting pregnant before, and if it were to happen, Aaron, that neither of us are in the place for a baby, so abortion would probably be the answer, and that is still where I am at right now. Today, he has been really supportive and said he wants to be there no matter what choice I make, and if I keep the appointment I have set up this week, that he wants to pay for it and be there to take care of me, which is nice now I guess. A little too late though. I'm so hurt and shocked at his arrogance and selfishness, I don't know how to forgive him. We were doing so well, the day prior I took him skydiving as his b-day present and we felt on top of the world. How do I go about forgiving him, if that is what I choose to do? Edit. For those saying why did I wait until I was alone to take it etc., I had slept pretty much the entire day, and took the test when it was available to me. I texted him immediately because, what, I'm just supposed to sit alone with my thoughts for 6 hours. Also, for those of you getting hung up on that detail, there were many chances for him to make it right. Calling me would have been the first step. At least offering to come back would have been the next. Not continuing to get hammered would have been the next. And not acting like a belligerent when I saw him again would have been the last step.